Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to RISMedia's ACE Content Solutions and Chime Workman Success Systems webinar. We're excited to have you here today. This is going to be a great webinar, and I'm real excited for the guests that we have today. Our topic today is one that's near and dear to my heart. It's building a high-performance real estate team. And the focus of today's webinar is to really talk about the challenges, successes, and the tools that are necessary to help some of the most successful teams change the way they do business and really take advantage of the opportunities that exist today. Just a little bit of housekeeping as we get ready to get started here. If you have questions during the webinar today, I encourage you to ask your questions. Real simple to ask questions. All you do is hit the little question icon or the questions bar, and the questions will show up on my screen. As I'm talking to our presenters today, we will have opportunities to break and ask questions, and I'll do my best to monitor those questions so that we can ask all the questions that you might be having about starting a real estate team. You know, teams are fast becoming a norm within the real estate market, and there's reasons why people love teams. Teams aren't for everybody, and not everybody's a good fit for a team. But for those of you that are really thinking about or have a team or want to be more successful as a team, today is going to be a great webinar. I'm Verl Workman. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Workman Success Systems. We specialize in coaching and training real estate teams and brokers and owners who run teams all over North America. And we have every system, process, and tool you can imagine to help teams be successful. I'm going to encourage all of you to stay tuned until the very end of the webinar. At the end of the webinar, we've got some great downloads today, some that you've never seen before on a RISMedia webinar. It's going to be, I'll give you that screen as we get towards the end today, and I'll share with you how you can get those free downloads from our sponsors and our guests. We want to give a special welcome for a first-time partner, Matthew Murphy from Chime Technologies. Chime Technologies offers real estate professionals CRM, that's client relationship management, IDX websites, lead generation, and what's unique is they put it all together in a team management service. Murphy was previously the co-founder and CMO of Lemon.com, mobile wallet solution acquired by LifeLock, and general manager at Bling Nation. He was also the CMO at Chegg and head of advertising and media at E-Trade Financial. And I'll tell you, when I went through and had a kind of a debrief and had an opportunity to really look into what Chime is doing, I got to tell you, Matthew, you have some pretty impressive technology. Thanks for being a partner on today's call, and tell us a little bit about Chime.
Excellent. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. So just a couple quick stories behind why we shaped Chime. So before we actually built the product, we interacted with a lot of leading teams and brokerages across the country and actually spent a few months with them, just following them on a day-to-day basis, really learning how they ran their operations, what was working, what wasn't working, and more importantly, if they had a tech team at their disposal, what would they build if they could, right? So that came to a lot of really interesting insights that came from it that we'll hit on as we go through this webinar. But first and foremost, to really build a high-performing team, it comes down to the basics, right? It comes down to communication, collaboration, and a great system that enables all of that together. And so the core behind Chime is really a collaboration platform with a lot of streamlined workflows that sit into a CRM system. The second major thing that was really important that we found is agents were out and about in the market at all points in time, yet to use their CRM system, they had to pull out a computer, which we thought was crazy, right? There weren't really any mobile optimized CRM systems. And so we built Chime on the mobile phone first, an iOS app and an Android app, and then we built it on the desktop experience, which you can see on the slide here, which really enables you to focus on the features that matter most to the agents that add the most value. And so as you dig into Chime, there's a full sales pipeline, there's a lot of powerful features as far as automated drip campaigns, listing alerts for your customers, but really most importantly are the collaboration features, the reporting features so you can actually see how your team's performing so you can coach them, as well as formalized action plans. On top of all of that, we provide a really powerful IDX website that's customized for your brand. We also run lead generation services. What's one thing that's unique about us is our team, before we built Chime, we actually built one of the largest social networks in the world with over 300 million consumers that use it on a monthly basis. And so by building one of the largest social networks, you really understand how social networks work and how they tick and how to really take advantage of those to find the right customers at the right points in time. So our lead gen services that we have, that we offer agents, really help give agents and teams and brokers an edge in the market through all that we've learned over the last 10 years of building leading social platforms. So that's a little bit about Chime, but really looking forward to this webinar today. We have an amazing group of panelists, so thank you, Verl, for having me.
Well, Matthew, thanks for being a partner, and I want to encourage you to continue to participate in the webinar and ask questions and engage with our guests today as we go through this. We appreciate you being here, and we appreciate the things that you're doing from a technology perspective. I have to tell you, it's a fascinating technology, and some of the reporting and some of the lead tracking and the way that you're seeing how the team members are performing is very, very impressive and something you don't see in a lot of other platforms that are out there. So congratulations on a great technology set.
Thank you.
So I next want to introduce Mike and Mike. It's Michael Boland and Michael O'Rourke, and they're partners in the Sandlin Real Estate team. They're with RE/MAX Affinity Plus in a place called Marco Island in Florida. Boylan's a realtor, and he's the chairperson of the Professional Development for the Marco Island Association of Realtors. He's the 6-time recipient of the Gulf Shore Life's 5-Star Real Estate Agent Award. O'Rourke is a broker associate. He's a certified expert in real estate negotiations. He's an E-Pro and is the 2016 president-elect of the association, and as well as a repeat top producer within the RE/MAX organization. And Mike, I want to thank you for being here, and I appreciate you joining the call today.
Thanks, Verl. It's great to be here.
Thanks, Verl. So tell us first just a little bit about your team. Give us a snapshot of what your business looks like.
Well, basically, our team's located in beautiful Southwest Florida, so we work primarily in Naples and on Marco Island. This is really a second home and resort market, so you think about beaches, boating, fishing, golf courses, and vacations, so that's a big part of this whole area. Our business was started in 1982 by Linda Sandlin. Currently, for our team, we have 8 realtors who are licensed, 2 full-time administrative staff, and 1 virtual assistant. And we average approximately $60 million in annual sales with about 85 transactions. We rank in the top 1% for both the Marco Island MLS and the Naples MLS.
So that's awesome. So you guys actually came into a team that was already established, and you're seeing more and more of that right now, where we're seeing people acquiring or getting involved with or partnering with other teams. How did that all come about?
We were really fortunate, Verl. Mike Boland and I were individual agents. You know, we really believed that a team approach was going to offer many benefits. So we started, looking into it, analyzed the marketplace to identify some of the key trends among the top agents and teams. And, we really believe that's the greatest likelihood for long-term success in the team format. So knowing Alan and Linda Sandlin, we approached them for some help in building a new team. And they were incredibly gracious and generous to us, really sharing everything they could, including, financials to help us get a sense in terms of the profitability of the business. And Mike and I soon realized that, to build this type of business that the Sandlins had created, it really was going to require much more time and resources than we originally thought. So when Alan and Linda Sandlin returned from a trip, we approached them about doing some merger, some type of joint venture or merger together. And, we were frankly thinking a couple years out, and they responded and said, sure, let's meet next week and start talking about it. And, from our perspective, we were thinking this is going to be a couple years down the road. So all of a sudden, things started moving very, very quickly, and we ended up putting together, our merger and our deal together in about 60 days, and we were off and running from there.
So that's pretty exciting. So talk to me a little bit about the culture you've created and how you guys are finding success.
For all of us, it really comes down to what, we collectively regard as being excellent. And And from that standpoint, it's what we focus on, what we all agree is important to us, and what we want to accomplish together as a team. And frankly, this is really the foundation for everything else that we choose to do. So it really it delivers your client and customer experience. It creates a common cause for your team and for your conversations and discussions. It drives your productivity, and it needs to be reflected in your vision and your mission and values. So it's something that we review, together as a team and constantly talk about, and when necessarily update it as well.
I think it's awesome. Talk to me about what you do for accountability and discipline, and why are some teams successful and some teams fail?
Cleve, this is Mike Bowen. I'm going to start with these questions. I think what it is you really truly need to run your business like a business. And for us, it starts with the nuts and bolts in finances. So we kind of dissect everything, and the better you dissect it, the better you can understand and adapt. We use QuickBooks, so that's what you'll see, the template up there. And if you do that, create a nice template. It's very easily to do on a monthly basis. Your accountant will love you. And when we try and figure out how to shift our spending, that's what we go to.
When you talk about running your business as a business, it's kind of a cliche. Everybody says that. What does it really mean? What do you really mean by running like a business?
We have corporate structure, so we have LLCs, PLLCs in place. We have accountants. We have attorneys. We own a commercial space for our office, so we have that in a separate company and run that like a business. So really, it's taking things and looking at them from a financial standpoint and accounting for all those things. And
yeah,
then
no,
obviously,
I appreciate it. I was just going to say that I appreciate that because, a lot of agents, they decide to form a team because they're too busy and they can't handle all the work, or they start giving up their life, or they don't have time to go home with their families. And they don't really think about all the logistics associated with running a team. And so what you're saying is that you need to get your house in order and then go about the business of doing real estate.
absolutely, because a lot of people, what they will do is just try and earn more money so they can make a decent living, as opposed to trying to figure out how to earn a decent living. And I think go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead and finish.
And what we've done with that is, you'll see the next slide is, with that, we have figured out how to prioritize, and know when to say no. And we're learning with the workmen and our coach how to say no. And I think that's really been hard for us because we're doers, and we're fine getting in the trenches and trying to get things done, as opposed to prioritizing what is actually making us money. And I will tell you that the coaching and the accountability has been something that has been very helpful to us. And with the workman system, the agile that you have up there, that just shows us what we need to do. It prioritizes it for us, and we don't have to remember it because it's in a template.
So you're talking to me, so I know what the Agile is, but for the listeners that are out there, this is a Google Doc spreadsheet called Agile Project Management. And what Mike is talking about is they put a list of all the things that they want to get done in their business as projects. And this is a long list. How many projects would you say are on your list if I was able to scroll down?
100 plus, easily.
Yeah. Can you do 100 projects at a time?
No. You can't even remember 100 things.
So it becomes kind of a holding place where all of your thoughts and ideas go. And then on this left-hand column where you see A, every project is given a number. and we go through and we sit with our clients. We go through each of those projects, then we sort them with the highest number to the lowest number, and it puts them in the order of priority. And that's when the magic starts to happen in your business, because when you take it off this project backlog, you decide you're going to do it, it then creates a sprint. And that's what these little tabs are here at the bottom. And those tabs are the projects and all the to-dos to get a project done. So tell me how that's been helpful to you. You talk about it and you show it, but tell me how that's changed the way you're operating.
I think that, in conjunction with having a coach that will hold you accountable, has helped us understand that if Mike and I try and do all those things, we will not do anything that generates us income. And so the biggest portion of how that's helped us is so we can give it to staff and hold them accountable to getting a lot of the tasks done. We shouldn't be doing stuff that a $10, $15, $20 an hour employee can do.
Yeah, that's it. By the way, it's an impressive agile. Your coach is doing a good job with you. Talk about what you track. What are some of the things that you guys track? What is it? I mean, and why is it important to track?
We track everything. We track what leads are coming in, what the source of the leads are, what the spend on those leads are, and it's a continuous process. It's never going to be perfect, but really by tracking that, that's how you can learn and understand what your business is doing and how to focus your time and energy on things that give back to you. And then I think from a team standpoint is people and or employees respect what you inspect. So if you're tracking everything, you can have good, honest conversations with people and hold them accountable.
It makes total sense. When you look at your lead sources and you look at what you're lead tracking, what kind of decisions and how are you making decisions differently now that you've got such great detail on this stuff?
Overall, one of the biggest lessons we've learned is around the importance of focusing on identifying your source of leads. And I can tell you, the Sandlins and our coach Cleve Gaddis have been major proponents of this. And really getting a good handle on what your cost per lead is and understanding what our team members are doing with those leads really become key drivers for our business. So the actual lead generation piece is a real critical component for a team because it's really adding great value to the buyers, agents, and that you have on the team. And, really as we talk to, and network with many of the top producing team leaders and agents, out there, one of the things that's really been identified as a gold mine is when you look at your existing base of clients and customers. And so that's one area that we really have also focused in on, which is, igniting your base of customers. And we're very committed to that in terms of lead generation. And our database has over 10,000 names, and really making sure that we're constantly following up and following through and making sure that we're connecting with those folks. And when they're ready to buy or sell real estate, we're there for them. And frankly, even beyond that, helping them with questions or issues that they have.
Okay, now you're back.
Matt, I'd love to throw in two thoughts. One important thing that we've learned is if you can't track it or if you don't track it, you can't improve it. And so these spreadsheets that we're seeing here are critical for managing a team because you need to track all your lead sources. You need to track all your activities. Once you have the data, that gives you a realization of what you can improve. And then a second point on that I think was a very important point for everyone. Working your sphere, if you have 10,000 leads in your database, that's a huge number to tackle, right, and to stay relevant and to stay in contact with. And so having systems like this that we're looking at today are critical for success because without systems, it's very hard to stay relevant, to stay in touch, to always be in front of your leads at the right points in time. So this is great.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Matter of fact, Matthew, I was going to ask you, as you're looking at the systems and the tracking, I know that this resonates well with you.
It does, and that's why we built out a core aspect of our product that has reporting deeply in there, so that you don't need to go calculate the reports on your own. The system, with all of the procedures that your team members are taking, for example, if they're doing action plans, when a lead comes in on a 6-month horizon, they do these 23 or 32 steps to nurture that lead. All of those actions are being tracked and then shown in a report for the team lead or even the agent to see how they're progressing against that and how they're better serving their customers. So reporting is critical to run a business, and running a real estate team is running a business.
So Michael, tell me about, you have a form here called the ISA Daily Tracking Form. First, describe what an ISA is and how you apply or utilize an ISA in your own business.
Well, we have an inside sales assistant. And, this is really a way around, as we thought about it, of the challenge of making sure that we're constantly staying in touch with our clients and customers. One of the things that came through from the coaching was a suggestion from Cleve, which was around considering an inside sales assistant. And this individual really is making calls and keeping in contact with our database, very much focused on finding right opportunities, keeping that connection within the team. And then this is actually the tracking form that our inside sales assistant has been sending to us on a weekly basis. And, it continues to evolve. I mean, we've moved that to more recently to a Google Docs system for him. And, it's calculating automatically the cost per lead and the cost per call. And that's just one other way of making sure that, the people who are already our customers and clients, we want to make sure that that's been a strength of this team for a long, long time. And it's much more cost effective to really take care of the people and clients and customers that you have than trying to reach out and get a lot of new clients and customers, particularly when you have a sizable base of customers.
Hey, when I look at this simple chart right here, this is last month. It shows that they made 1,045 dials, 129 contacts, and 20 leads were generated. That's an impressive stat right there.
Bro, you're right. And we talk about understanding your cost per lead and your return on investment. And actually, this has been a really successful. It's something in the early stages, but it's been a very successful initiative as far as we're concerned.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Before I go on to the next slide, let me ask you what the challenges have been on finding talent and finding good buyer agents and listing partners and ISAs even.
Well, I think there are definitely we have certainly had challenges along those lines because not all folks in our business are interested in working within a team. And, oftentimes people have to go out and work in this business and find out how competitive it really is before they start realizing what's their goal going to be. And the people that we've found are successful in terms of on teams are people who are more focused on actually what they're earning, and they have great interpersonal skills and love selling. And those type of individuals are great fits for the team because all the operational things and the marketing and sales and that too all takes away time from them being able to spend time with their clients and customers. And so we've found that those have been people that have been really good fits in terms of recruiting. But we've also been very fortunate in terms of some of the new members that have come through the team. They've been, very skilled people and actually brought some great value in terms of technology skills and that too to help us.
In terms of pitfalls, I think along those lines, if an agent is not running their business like a business and they don't understand how much they're actually spending on their business, they can't understand a split. So that's been a hurdle that we've had to overcome because we spend a lot more than most of them would spend in a year, and we're not asking for that in proportion on the split.
Yeah, agents don't realize what it really does cost to run a business. And when you have the initial discussion about coming to work on a 50-50 or a 40-60 split with 40 to the buyer's agent and 60 to the team leader, they don't get it. But when you focus on how much they take home instead of the split, that's when everything changes in their perception, and we're able to sell it that way. Good points. Talk a little bit about your realtor referral network. You guys are kind of in a resort community.
We're fortunate that we have a team that's been around for a long time, so we've made contacts with a lot of people through our brand and RE/MAX. We do a lot of referrals, so we really treat them like our top customers. And I think one of the biggest things to do when you're trying to nurture that is feedback about the referral customer. A lot of people, I think that's their biggest point of frustration, is once they hand off that referral, they have absolutely no idea what's going on with it, or if they even stand to make any kind of money. So we try and stay out in front of them, whether it's social media, email blast, personal note, or phone call, and having our staff let them know what's going on with their customer or client.
What a simple concept, right? Just somebody gives you a referral, actually let them know what's happening with it. And that you know, simple concepts I found are oftentimes differentiators. They're big differentiators. Everybody knows they should do it, but so few people actually do the task.
And it's amazing how many referrals you get based upon that one thing and treating them like your top customer. It's very simple, but it goes a long way.
Mike, I'm not able to hear you.
I said it's a very simple concept, but it goes a real long way.
Yeah, thank you. So talk to me about growth versus mergers and acquisitions. We kind of started with your merging with the Sandlin team. Do you have others on the horizon?
Well, Burl, we just actually added a merger with another agent in the area, Kathy Pierce, and she's been a very, very successful agent in this marketplace for a long time. And you know, really, I think that's one thing where it's added, you know, probably 7%, you know, to our overall, you know, plan for the year from a growth standpoint. And I think some of the things that I'd just like to convey here is the growth, you know, via mergers and acquisitions. That's a really good source for potential growth for all of us in the future, because in our industry, you know, there's a lot of life changes going on, and life changes are what drives a lot of activity in terms of people buying and selling real estate, but it also drives a lot of the behavior in terms of agents and teams out there. And so, you know, it creates some real mutual opportunities. And from our perspective, having the systems and processes and resources that we have, that's something we can leverage on, you know, others' client bases and customer bases, and in many cases really energize them, you know, with these new systems and processes. And then one of the things we've just experienced recently with Kathy joining our team is there's an incredible benefit to knowledge sharing, and Kathy bringing in all she knows and the experience and her knowledge of certain segments of the market, and you know, joining that together with the knowledge sharing that the team has, and it really, really has a major benefit and been a real plus for us.
I think I'd like to walk on that beach in this photo right here.
You know, that property is available, Pearl, and we'll be happy to talk to you about that shortly after the call.
Yeah, what a beautiful, beautiful place. Just out of curiosity, how do you structure an already successful agent into an acquisition? How do you bring them into the fold? Do you mind giving me just a little bit of kind of broad brushstrokes? You don't have to give me a lot of detail, but just kind of give me an idea of what that deal might look like. How do you get them to leave their successful business and join your team?
The first place I would start with is going back to that first discussion point of culture, and there was really good shared values and things that were incredibly important to Alan and Linda Salen and Mike and I when we brought our businesses together. And I can tell you that we've known Kathy Pierce for a long time, and Kathy has a very similar commitment in terms of values to work ethic. And so I can't overemphasize how important having that right culture and fit is, because sometimes you look at the financial results or the size of the business or some of these other things, and frankly, you just you don't go back to just saying, is it a good fit, and does that person care about what I care about? And so that's the first thing that I would say when you're thinking about mergers and acquisitions. There has to be a really good fit from a culture standpoint, because then, you know, as owners and business partners, you really have to have a trust and a confidence in each other. And the second thing I would say is that through conversation, you really have to understand what's important to the other person, because all the deals what's important to Kathy Pierce may be very different than what's important to Alan and Linda Salen or Mike or I. And so you really have to listen, and then once you understand what's important to them, structure the deal accordingly. But from our standpoint, you know, we would definitely say the days of like buying a book of business and just paying, you know, a big fee and hoping that it all works out, you know, that's not a plan for success. And it really has to be generated around, what do you think together going forward in the future you're going to be able to do and deliver?
Yeah, I appreciate that, and you know, everything you tie back to ties back to culture. So I appreciate you sharing that. And I think there's a lot of people that are at that phase in their real estate careers where they're just tired, and they're tired of doing it all themselves, and they don't want to build a big team. And so the attraction of somebody that has all the processes and systems and structure in place, I think, is going to become more and more attractive to a lot of people that are in the twilight of their real estate career, that don't want to just go off quietly into the sunset. They'd rather get involved with somebody else and have their legacy continue once they slow down.
Absolutely.
So talk about some key points from a team perspective. A lot of people here thinking about, how do I set up and structure a team, and what do I do? Give me your bullet points.
I think basically creating good systems, processes, holding yourself accountable. In the terms of our business, the coaching has been very good for us, because we have somebody holding us accountable and looking at our business from a different angle, and that has been incredibly helpful, and going forward is very important part of our business. I think one of those big key learning things from Cleve has been incremental improvements is what you're looking for. You're never going to be perfect, so don't strive for perfection. Strive to do it very, very well. Again, system and processes are kind of the keystone and building block for everything in your business. And if you can, seek alignment with the brokerage and anything that's mutually benefit for and profitable for both businesses. And be open and honest with people and work your butt off.
Thanks for throwing that last one in. Work your butt off. I love that. So true. So many people just want to have all the structure and systems, but they don't want to make that, what I call the second investment. That's the time that it takes to actually build everything and make it work. Well, congratulations on your success, your recent acquisition, and thank you for sharing with us. I'm going to jump right in, if I can, to introduce Nate Martinez. Will you stay on the phone with us, Mike? And Mike, as we wrap up today, we'll probably have some more questions for you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you, Verl.
Thank you for being here. And Mike and Mike coach with one of our master level coaches. His name is Cleve Gaddis, who's also been a guest on these RISMedia shows, and sometimes even a host. And Cleve is kind of a no bull crap coach. He looks at your numbers, he doesn't buy into your stories, and he focuses on progress. And one of my other favorite coaches is also our next guest. Nate Martinez is the broker owner of RE/MAX Professionals in Glendale, Arizona. Nate is an ABR, a CRS, a GRI, an ePro, an SFR. He's got a lot of other designations. He's an education junkie and a true expert in real estate. It was really fun to watch Nate. I've known Nate for, I don't know, Nate, we know each other probably 20 years now, and I've watched Nate go from hungry young, let's get it started, to building a pretty massive empire, and then watched the market tank and him becoming one of the largest REO agents in the world, really, and really taking advantage of the different things that were out there. It's been a really interesting journey, an impressive journey to watch Nate as he's adapted and changed with the real estate market over the years, and he continues to be very, very successful. He's one of our coaches at Workman Success Systems. He coaches primarily brokers and owners who also run teams, and he runs a very successful team as well. He speaks, he trains literally hundreds of real estate professionals in all different topics, and I'm excited to have you here, Nate. Thanks for being so generous and joining us on the call today.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited to be here and share. And also, I took some great notes from Mike and Mike, so thank you for that presentation.
So, Nate, you know, people act like Teams is a new thing. How long have you been doing Teams?
It's been over 25 years. You know, I started off with the team of a part-time person that came on, and that part-time person, I hired a full-time admin assistant, and then my first buyer's agent, then my second, and so forth. One thing, teams will expand and contract with the market. You know, back in the REO days, we were doing 680 transactions was our best year. And it was a very machine-driven organizations, from having even 4 people that were non-licensed that were running around doing inspections of the vacant homes on a weekly basis, to, you know, running a BPO crew that were just doing the analysis, and then, you know, having several transaction coordinators doing the paperwork. You know, it took you away from going to listing appointments, but you woke up in the morning with the chime, so to speak, and you had another REO, you had an eviction or a cash for keys or whatever it may be. Pretty much a business that was driven for you based on the accounts that we acquired. You know, so we felt when that market crashed here in Phoenix, we were doing 300 transactions a year for several years. You know, we've been doing over 100 transactions a year. After the first year I ever heard somebody do that, I thought, well, we need to do that. You know, so kind of a goal-oriented individual. So today, that's the team that we currently have. After my coaching call with you day before yesterday, Bro kind of kicked me in the butt, said I need 2 more buyer's agents, so we're actively looking for buyer's agents. Interesting note, you know, I got a lead from a lady that's 31 years in the business and wanted to possibly join my team. And I thought about it. I go, well, you know, we're kind of a lead gen type team. You know, somebody that's been in the business that long going to want to lead generate and so forth. And right before this call, I had a phone interview with her. And then after listening to what Mike and Mike had shared about bringing in a veteran, it's really exciting me to maybe look beyond newer agents to join the team, and maybe going out and getting some highly experienced agents to join our team.
Yeah, I thought that's a very different perspective, isn't it, Nate?
Yeah, it is. It is, really is. I'm kind of excited about it. And, you know, one of my old mentors always talked about get out of judgment and get into curiosity. And I was kind of judgmental when my recruiter brought that person to me, and she goes, you really got to talk to her. So when I talked to her, it really changed my mindset. And then after listening to Mike and Mike, it's really, you know, resonated in my, so I can't wait to meet her next Wednesday. What you're looking at here is basically a roles and responsibilities spreadsheet that I basically got from Burl, where you kind of, when you're growing a team, you know, you got to go through and find out what is everybody on your team doing. And in this example here, all those X's, when we went through this exercise, each one of the people on my team were doing some or part of a task. In this case, we're looking at the seller's task list, sending out handwritten thank you notes, preparing a CMA, preparing listing packets, et cetera, et cetera. It was kind of like everybody was kind of doing it, you know. And then if you notice, I have a new column, and where I put that mark of a 0, for lack of a better mark, it was something that somebody could take that task and take it off of our backs and have somebody new handle those pieces. So that new is now Sylvia, and which was a new hire that we did February 1st. So again, just trying to go back and rebuild the team, looking at what your team needs and defining the roles of each person on your team better and better, I think, helps your team grow in a more efficient way.
This is actually a really impactful spreadsheet that was shared by one of our coaching clients, Anthony Margulis from the Palisades in California. As we were trying to figure out who did what on his team, it was a nightmare because everybody was doing everything. And so as we kind of crowdsource our development of activities, the reason I gave this to you is because it was really important that we had clearly defined roles and clearly defined responsibilities. And after you went through this activity, what was the response of the team when you showed them how everybody was doing everything?
Yeah, I think what was interesting, I think even on this, it doesn't show our 3 new buyers agents that we did prior to doing this. So I think it was some clarity. And, at the time I had 1 full-time admin person, which was probably overloaded why some of us were doing some of the additional tasks. And we had part-time, we outsourced some of our marketing to another person. So now that we defined what everybody was doing, and we had to take off what they shouldn't be doing and give it to somebody and delegate that off. So that's what we've done, and it's a constant learning, constant battle, if you will.
So Nate, you wear a lot of hats. You're running an office that has, hundreds of agents. You've got 6 offices, and you're running a team. How does your day go? I mean, how do you change your role from broker owner to recruiting for the offices to team leader and running your team effectively? And talk a little bit about what that looks like.
Yeah, I mean, we as far as the RE/MAX professional side, we have 6 offices. Each office has a person that's running that office, so to speak. My business partner, Frank, and he has the same role as me. He has his own team, and we came together as 2 separate teams to do a franchise 16 years ago. So that is pretty well under control. Everything's delegated out. We usually meet as a company for 3 hours once a week on Wednesday morning, and we have 2 15-minute calls, one on Monday morning and one on Friday with our core team. And that's pretty much how that company runs. Do we get pulled in at times? Yes, we do. So the rest of my time is as a team leader of the Nate Martinez team. We basically, we focus on a weekly meeting and moving more and more into daily accountability. But in our weekly meetings, we're really going through and doing a checkup. We want to know what successes the agents had the week before, what challenges, and we kind of go through our stats and, how many leads and sales and pendings and so forth, So daily accountability, we'll talk a little bit more later. But as a team, you have to create the systems, from lead gen and lead conversion. As an agent who's been in this business over 31 years now, it's different than the way we generated business 30 years ago, even though there's still the basics. But, the new internet lead is something that I'm conquering and trying to conquer and figure out. So, having the right processes and systems around lead gen and conversion is important. So what we jumped here to was tracking. What you measure improves. So all the spreadsheets that I have through coaching, I'm able to grab the information I want and put it into this dashboard here, and that company is called Gecko Boards. And what you can do is you take any spreadsheet, and Google Sheet preferably because it's more active, and you have this up on your TV screen or your computer, so we can have this in our office up on the wall on a big screen TV. And everybody on the team can kind of see what's going on. In the upper left-hand corner, it's how many leads each person has, current listings to the right, pendings, year-to-date closings. You can see our goal of 240 closings at the time the screenshot was done. We had 39 done. So we have our closed volume, our gross commissions. So it just gives us a snapshot. I can pull that up from my iPhone, from my laptop, my office computer, whatever, and it's something that is just an active dashboard that pulls everything together so I can kind of see what's happening, and they could see. I
This
think
is really
it kind
cool.
of
I remember when you told me about this. Tell everybody what the name of it is again.
Gecko boards.
Like
Just
a lizard?
the gecko lizard, yeah, gecko board.
Yeah, it's really
And
cool.
they give you a 30-day free trial. And I know why they do that, because once you set it all up and it's cool, you end up starting to pay them, right? So it's a monthly subscription, $25, $30 a month. Not a lot of money, but it's kind of fun to see.
Yeah, really cool. Let's talk more about lead tracking.
Yeah, and I'm going to talk about lead tracking for a while. So as a realtor, I've known through all the different seminars I've gone through is you always track where you close your transaction. You want to know what has made you money so you can register your return on your investment. Well, it wasn't until, we started coaching together about a year ago, bro, where you brought the lead tracking. I was like, I wasn't really worried about the leads. I was worried about the closings. But what's been very eye-opening to me is by tracking leads, you find where your inefficiencies are. If we're generating, 1,300 Zillow leads a year and we close 10, that's not very good conversion ratio, right? And what I've noticed is being coaching realtors in the company or just watching realtors in general, whatever they do, they go at it full bore for a couple months, and then they realize it's not working, meaning they haven't made any money. This would be an example of a farm area. They started farming and they're religious at it for 2-3 months, and then they quit because they didn't get any results. Well, with lead tracking, you can track the leads you're generating, even though they might be doing business today, it might be business later, and you could really start to track the leads that are coming on for a couple of reasons. One is the marketing that you're doing, creating lead responses, is the lead responses you get. Now, the next phase would be the conversion, and do you have a conversion problem, right? So I think with this, we know where every lead comes from day one, as opposed to at the close of escrow. Sometimes I used to get the admin saying, hey, where did the Smiths come from? And then you're trying to rack your brain. I think they were an open house, At least now we know exactly from the day we meet the client, we're capturing that lead source. And I think we were doing it, but we were never doing it good. So this is an example.
Hey, Nate, before you get into Blackstone for a minute, let me ask you a question, because there's some questions on the message board about team structure, and so I'm going to go backwards for just a minute, and then we'll talk about some of your marketing. But tell me about the roles of your agents. Do all your agents list and sell? Are you the primary lister? Tell me how you've broken it down.
Okay, let me tell you about my team. So currently today we have 2 licensed administrative assistants, 1 agent that specializes just in REO, 5 buyer's agents, and then myself as the team leader. I pretty much try to handle the upper tier of the real estate business now, which in our market would be $500,000 and above, as far as listings and sales go. More and more about $750,000 and above, which I moved the needle to today. My buyer's agents are focused as buyer's agents. My son and daughter are in the business as 2 of those 5 buyer's agents, and they've been listing and selling with me for years. And my new buyer's agents that all started on January 2nd, the 3 gentlemen I hired, they have actually all listed a house now, so it's great. So I'm open to having both a listing agent and a buyer's agent. I think there is a continuity of when you meet somebody at an open house, they trust you. You get them to buy into you being their realtor to help them buy a house, and then you can go list their house. I think it's a good. I think it's good connection all the way through, as opposed to handing off. I've seen in my years, I've had just people list. I've had people just buy. There's been times in my career that I was the only person that listed, and the buyer's agents referred everything to me. The team that I'm trying to build now is so I can have a team where I am not doing any physical selling, and that's where I'm moving to. I imagine that might be the end of the year or 12 months from today. is kind of the time frame where I think I'll be completely remove myself from the day-to-day sales.
It's a
Okay.
beautiful thought, but you never have to get out of real estate. You can always choose to do the part you love.
Oh yeah, no, and I get it. I think, you know, I look at, you know, team building, and one of the things I wanted to share is how do you, what kind of activities do you do to build your team? You know, we do a lot of events, and we try to maybe teach, or what's the word I'm looking for? We try to have our agents they're like our family, really. You know what I mean? When you have a team, it becomes like a family. You're seeing each other every day. You're dealing with, you know, the same type of challenges that families have. So we do team building events. You know, you know, during the spring, they have all the spring baseball going on. So we always take a spring baseball game in, knock off work, and go have a cold one and a hot dog and just get everybody together. A few years back, before the REO crash, our goal was to do 300 transactions, and that was a team goal, right? Everybody put together what their goal was, and it added up to about 300. So I said we hit the goal of 300 closed transactions of taking you plus one to Cancun, and we did that, and we had a lot of fun with that, just in the everybody cheering each other on to make sure everybody's hitting their goals, so that at the end of the year we could all celebrate together. Other things as a team building is doing, you know, annual and quarterly advances where we come together and, you know, turn off the phones for 4 to 5 hours and just kind of figure out how do we move our program a little bit further, and then coaching. You know, I'm spending spend about a half an hour every other week individually with one-on-one coaching of our team members. So I think more than ever, I'm more involved in leading the team than I have before. So, you know, the key is building a team that stays together. I've had the pleasure of people on my team that have gone off to be part of my company after they were done being a team member, and several have built some major teams, and actually some have opened up their own real estate companies, but they all started at that level of a buyer's agent many years ago.
It's fun to watch them grow and to progress and develop as leaders. You know, Nate, we talk a lot about online lead generation and Zillow and Realtor.com and all these different things that people can do to buy leads. I love that you are a direct mailer, that you figured out the numbers and the ROI. Talk to us about direct mail and some of the things that you do and what's effective from a marketing perspective.
Well, you know, I think direct mail has always worked for me, and I'm more of that guy that wants to create a marketing effect that causes the phone to ring. I love the come list me calls as opposed to grinding and calling people I don't know. I'm not comfortable with that setting. So I've always been a marketer, and the piece that we have is what I would call a hyper-local direct mail piece, where we're going into a area that we determine we want to work. We know the demographics. This would be page 2 inside cover of the piece. This is a 4-page piece, and this would just basically have the market where it shows where all the sales are occurring. We're giving information on the 3rd page of you know, active listings that we have. And one of the things I want to talk to you about this particular type of marketing piece is not a every door direct type mailing. This is being mailed, and in several places within the piece, on almost every page, we're adding the buyer or the client's or the homeowner's name right to the piece. So it's basically tying them to the piece. So it's, what do you call it? You call it direct. I forget the type of printing it is right now, but basically every homeowner's name is blended right into the piece, like an old mail merge, if you will. Okay.
Yeah.
And the next page is the last page, and that's, you know, the mailing page. And again, we're always utilizing this page like we're in a listing appointment. It's an easy way to close. Say, hey, you know, we're getting ready to deadline. If you're ready to sign with us today, we can make sure we have you on the back of our Blackstone marketing piece. So real simple. You know, it's a 4-page piece. You know, we were right before this call, we had our mastermind here in our company, and one of the other agents that's using this type of marketing, they asked the agent, she goes, does that really work? And she goes, yeah, this is a good piece of my business. And I pulled out a picture and showed them in this Blackstone community, which is a country club gated community, I have 3 houses listed all on the same street. 2 of them are side by side, and the other one's across the street. So at the one picture frame, you can see all 3 of my signs. 2 are pending, and 1 we should have pending today. So they came from this type of marketing of a continual dripping on people. You know, and this development, by the way, started at the time of the crash. And when I started this 3 years ago, there wasn't a whole lot of resale, and I focused on marketing the new builds that the builders were building in there, even though they were probably getting directed back to the home builder and I was not getting compensated for it. But over time, people noticed that I was the top of mind realtor in that area, and we own that market share. Here's another great thing. This is stuff that RIS does, and it's basically their ACE program, and what it does, it's kind of a set it and forget it social media program where when you sign up, you pay a monthly subscription, and that you give them all your different social media, and they'll post content on there for you. This is an example of a Facebook post. On this particular one, 23 people were reached, and it's things to avoid when selling your house. Now, if they click on this and you change the screen, you'll see the next slide will show you, it takes them like off of Facebook right to like a blog page, right? So it's taking them away and moving them to our blog page. And this gives them an opportunity then to send me messages direct off of Facebook. But, they're posting, I think, three of these a week and 1 on the weekend. So it's about 4 postings. And it's always good content. It always looks real good. And just a great way to stay in front of your social media.
Hey, how much time are you personally spending, making sure the content's good and posting and making sure it's all the places it needs to be? How much do you have to do once it's set up?
Oh, I don't do nothing. I set it up 3 months ago. I've never done anything since. I get an email every 3 days whenever something goes out of a copy of what was sent out. So I don't do anything.
I think this is one of the most brilliant tools that RISMedia has come up with in a long time. It's awesome.
Well, everybody on this call is subscribed to RISMedia. That's probably how you invited. So their writers that they have, the content that they have is always top notch. So it's basically their writers writing about our industry. Somebody that could probably put a blog together better than I could, right? So it's fairly simple.
A couple questions that came from the message board. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
How often do you send your direct mailers out, the Blackstone mailers? What's your frequency?
Once a month. We try to get it out on the 1st. It's a system. It's a third-party system that we subscribe to. We try to have all our proofs done by about the 15th to the 20th so it can get in the mail and on the way to the post office so it's in their door by the 1st of the month.
I'm going to ask you a self-serving question, but after so many years in the business and training so many people and running successful teams, why do you have a coach today?
Well, like the picture, I used a coach of the Cardinals earlier on, but, when you're having a coach, they're on the sidelines watching their players, having a coach that's coaching other successful agents can look at your business and see some holes that you're doing, or perfect example, before I hired Burl a year ago, it was pretty much a little family team. I didn't want to grow. My family didn't want the team to grow. Everybody wanted to keep this small little team. When you get your spouse and 2 children in the team, bringing somebody else in to take away from all the low-hanging fruit that we had, was concerning. It was Verl that kind of kept prodding and poking and finding out what's important to me, and that's more of leaving a legacy and building something so I don't have to work the rest of my life. And I think having that coach to find the holes and to push you. I mean, just the other day, you were able to go online, look at my Boomtown account, and see that where there were some inefficiencies in my buyer's agent's follow-up that was causing the return we were getting. So I didn't like hearing it. I was kind of even getting a little defensive. But, you got in my face. You told me what was wrong. I guess what? I had to kind of get in my buyers, my team's face. I even let them know we're adding 2 more people because we have more leads than we can handle. So I think that's what a coach does. That you kind of look from the sidelines, and just like in a football game, you know, if somebody is picking up your route, you got to change the route, you know. And I think that's what coaching does. As realtors, we never want to be accountable. You know, that's why I think we became realtors. We wanted to work for ourselves. Sometimes ourselves are our own worst enemy.
These thoughts and ideas and marketing and things that our panelists have shared. We're going to give you the daily success habits tracker that both teams use to track accountability on their team for daily success habits of all of their agents. Our ebook called 8651, How to Close 86 Transactions a Year, working with 50 people 1 hour a day. A team or not to team webinar, which is a really strong breakdown of, you know, how to structure a team and whether or not a team makes sense for you. And I think this is, and I read this cover to cover, thought this is a great a white paper. It's put out by Chime, and it's how to build a successful real estate team from the ground up. And Matthew, we're so much in alignment on the way that we think and the way that we structure teams and the things that we believe need to be tracked in a team. I appreciate you making that available to all of our guests. And just go to workmansuccess.com/team performance to download that, and you'll be able to get all of these giveaways plus a copy of today's webinar. Nate, any parting thoughts for the group?
No, you know what? If you don't have an assistant, you are one. How's that?
Nate today?
I've lost you. You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Can you hear me, Mike?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, my question was, I appreciate it when the panelists pick up good ideas from each other. Were you guys able to pick up a few new things that you can do as a result of being on the webinar with Nate today?
Absolutely, Verl. I was making some notes, and Nate's idea of using a recruiter, you know, for agents, that's something, you know, honestly, we've never done. I love the dashboard idea and way of keeping all the team members engaged together in terms of the total numbers. We don't have anything like that. So the RISMedia piece also for social media in that too was fantastic. So it was very helpful. Mike?
No, I think it's good, and I think we share a lot of commonalities, and I think when you look at the difference is we're very similar, but we do things slightly different, but they're all related to systems and processes and having somebody to hold you accountable, and in turn trying to hold your staff. And I think you summed it up best with if you don't have an assistant, you are an assistant, and sometimes that's the Achilles heel to the agent.
Hey, Verl, and we just wanted to say too, we really appreciate the opportunity. I mean, it was fun today, and we learned something and got something out of it too. So we appreciate you inviting us on here and also getting to know Nate through this experience too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Matthew, thanks for being a partner of the RISMedia and the ACE webinar series. Look at the tools. Go review this again. I think the more you listen to this webinar, the more you realize how much information and content was here. On behalf of RISMedia and Workman Success Systems, thank you for being here. If you want some help, or you really want some help, you want to hear what's working for coaching, make sure you sign up for a free business consultation or a free coaching consult, and one of my team members will sit down with you and really, you know, look at where your business is and see if there's a way we can work together and help you. Thanks everybody for joining us today, and I'll look forward to talking to you on our next RISMedia webinar.
Thank you.